Hi guys, my name is Kaylin Carrington. This is my video for CORE1503 Personal Stewardship, and this is for my final project. So this class has really opened my eyes to the importance of stewarding lots of things that I had not previously considered stewardship. One of these things is creation. I had never really considered that the created order was something that we were intended to steward, even though it's clearly there in the biblical text. So from this class, my family has decided to start having a pescatarian diet. This is for a multitude of health reasons, but also for environmental reasons as well. By reducing our meat consumption, we are also reducing our carbon footprint. And we are also investing in a non-electric water filter, a Berkey filter, that will make it to where we are no longer buying gallons of water to drink. So this is going to be not electric, so it's not going to use any energy, and it will filter out all the microbes and metals and toxins and stuff in our water, and we will have plenty of clean drinking water. As far as a community level, I found that I am in a part of the world that is really unconcerned with conservation. So I'm going to keep digging and try and really find something that I can get involved in and be passionate about that will serve my community and serve the planet well. For now, I'm going to start shopping at our local farmers markets, so that my food doesn't have as much carbon footprint from it being shipped and traveled, and then also to support local farmers and to see if I can find more people in that community that are interested in stewarding creation. As far as wellness goes, let's see. I have recommitted to working out like I should be, and I wanted to share this quote too that I found interesting about creation. As much as political debates want to minimalize climate change and global warming and things of that nature, there was a statistic from this class that said that 97% of climate scientists agree that humans have changed the Earth's atmosphere in dramatic ways over the past 2 centuries, resulting in global warming. This was from the lifescience.com greenhouse effect article that we read in this class. And so it seems to me like no matter what people want to say to push their political agendas, this is a real issue. And speaking of politics, the only way that we can do something about this on an individual level is to speak with our vote when it comes to things of that nature. Also, I found this really interesting from the Stewardship of Creation article by Russell Butkus. The environmental crisis moves us to affirm the theology of creation resident in the biblical tradition. This theology reminds us that creation continues to unfold, and therefore God's self-disclosure in creation continues as well. The divine self-disclosure is available to us just as it was to the ancient sages and poets of Israel's wisdom creation hymns found in the Psalms and in wisdom literature of the Old Testament. So I just thought that was interesting too, that creation happened but is continuing to happen too, and so we can continue to see God through that. The next area is wellness, and I have recommitted my life to get back into good shape and to enjoy a healthy diet. This from the health.gov article, Current Eating Patterns in the U.S., says that current eating patterns can be moved towards healthier eating patterns by making shifts in food choices over time. Making these shifts can help support a healthy body weight, meet nutrient needs, and lessen the risk of chronic disease. So those are all things that are really important to me. A healthy body weight just so I can move well, so I can feel well, meeting nutrient needs so that I don't get sick, and then lessening the risk of chronic disease. As someone who has type 2 diabetes running rampant through my family, it's important that I steward my body now while I'm young and I'm still healthy, so that I don't have to deal with those issues later on in life. Also, high blood pressure and heart disease, things like that in my family that I can make steps to changing. So, like I said, we have switched to a pescatarian diet. And so we're mostly plant-based with some fish here and there just to keep us satiated. I've also recommitted to working out at least 3 times a week. This is really important for my physical health, but also for my mental health as well, I've realized. My biggest, setback as far as wellness goes is sleep, but I have a young child right now, and so getting uninterrupted sleep is just not realistic. So, sleep is something that certainly I could work on, could improve on, and hopefully as my child ages, I will get back to sleeping like a normal person. So my next area I want to talk about is civic stewardship. This was definitely one that before this class I never considered being a priority for Christians. In fact, I was kind of the ostrich with my head in the sand when it came to civic responsibilities, and I thought, like, why make a fuss over it? But this is a quote from just like our learning lessons that our instructor provided this semester. It says, Christians live in 2 kingdoms. They are first citizens of heaven, yet Christians also live in this world. They can have an influence on how government operates, helping to keep it within its God-ordained boundaries. Such is the essence of what Jesus taught in one portion of his Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5:14 and 16. Also, I found it interesting that I learned from this class that self-government is self-control. There's a quote from Hugo Grotius that says, he knows not how to rule a kingdom that cannot manage a province, nor can he wield a province that cannot order a city, nor can he order a city that knows not how to regulate a village, nor he a village that cannot guide a family, nor can a man govern well a family that knows not how to govern himself. Neither can any govern himself unless his reason be the Lord. Will and appetite her vassals, nor can reason rule unless herself be ruled by God and be obedient to him. So I think that it's very important that when we deal with civic matters, we do it with the lens of Christianity, and that we don't conform to this world, we don't conform to the things that society finds appropriate, but that we vote with our convictions in mind. So this class has taught me the importance of Christian involvement in government for sure. I found it very interesting that we were required to go to, a meeting and stuff, and I had never even considered going to a city council meeting, but wow, that was really interesting. And I learned a lot from it about how our city operates and the things that are coming up the pipe, if you will, for our city. And so, in a city that has so much negativity around it, that was cool to see the good things that are in store for Shreveport. And then from also talking with my elected official, Senator John Milkovich, he really persuaded me with his opinions about how Christians being ignorant towards things of government is allowing evil to prevail. So he just really reminded me the importance of Christian involvement in government. The last area, the one thing I knew with stewardship, is our finances. And so this is one that I knew without a doubt was critical as stewardship and godly living. So my plans for giving to God's kingdom is my husband and I, we tithe 10% of our gross income, no matter what. It's non-negotiable. It always happens. Plans to address risk through insurance. So we already have car insurance. We only have liability, and that's because we have really cheap cars that we don't feel like the risk and the benefit outweigh each other to have a better insurance plan. Life insurance we have on my husband and my son, and I think we have a policy on myself too. We took out an additional life insurance policy on my husband because he does work as a police officer in a notoriously dangerous city, so we felt like that was wise planning. We also took out additional health insurance on my husband that will cover any work-related injuries or even non-work-related injuries that would pull him from work, because such small injuries or health things can prevent him from completing his job well. So we thought that was a good idea as well. Our plans for investments and retirement. So as of right now, I don't have any retirement plan because I am an unemployed stay-at-home mom. My husband has a retirement plan through the city because he's a police officer, so we are paying into that. And because of this class, I now know the importance of planning for my retirement, even though I'm not paying into a retirement fund. So I thought it was interesting. I got really stressed about the fact that we weren't investing in my retirement, but we had a quote in our learning course information from our instructor, and it says, investing happens over your lifetime. In your early adult years, you typically have little surplus to invest, which is where I'm at. It says your first investments are in your education or your home, and then perhaps in planning for children's education or for your retirement. And so that was encouraging to me, that although I'm not financially investing in my retirement right now, I am investing in my education. So I guess that reignited some hope in me that although it's not happening yet, I do have a plan and I am working towards the end goal. So that helped me not freak out. The last thing is how has this project changed your perspective on personal financial stewardship? I say always, for about 10 years now, I have been super committed to tithing. And God has reminded me time and time again about why that is something that we're called to do and that He's faithful to. So tithing, that didn't change that much. However, I had never considered things like insurance and retirements and stuff like that, stewardship, although now I see the importance of that. So I would say that that's how my perspective has changed in this class. What might I need to change to improve my commitment to living by my plan? So as of right now, we live on a super tight budget. We're a single income family of a public servant, so there's not a whole lot we can do, but the things that we can do is reduce our excessive like going out to eat or like going to the movies and stuff like that. Now, it is important to maintain my relationship with my husband, so date nights, like going to the movies, sometimes aren't a necessity financially, but are a necessity emotionally. So we have to find a balance there. And then the other thing is that we really need to stick to our budget. We need to plan it out, stick to it. So budget in things like date night. And lastly, we need to diversify our means of income. So does that look like me getting a part-time job, or my husband picking up extra shifts, or expanding on my catering business that I had in the past? So those are things for us to consider how to move forward from here. All in all, from this class, I have learned a ton, and it's been a really interesting class, and it really opened my eyes up to what stewardship means in its totality, and not just that we as Christians tithe our 10% each week. So I found this very informative and life-changing, certainly. It really opened my eyes to the importance of stewarding creation through our habits and what we vote for as a nation or as a community, at state level, at city level, things like that. And then also coming from that, like how we vote, so being involved in government and civic matters, and then also to stewarding my body well, making sure that I am getting adequate sleep, that I'm eating well, that I'm exercising, that I'm doing the things that I know I need to do to have the energy to perform well. So I'm thankful for this class, and I learned so much. Thank you, guys.